Alright, so this past summer we had a pretty big movie summer, and I just want to ask guys to the class, who went to go see The Dark Knight? Right, pretty significant amount of the class. What about The Avengers? A little bit more. What about Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man? And what less? Okay, so basically today I want to talk about the movie industry's approach to texted basic, based movies, such as like comic books and other sorts of books, like Perks of Being a Wallflower and The Hunger Games, and the Harry Potter series that was a massive success over the last decade and a half. So I want to start out what I think is pretty much the core and the most important part of making a movie like this successful is with the director and writer. And I'll start with the Dark Knight trilogy, which is wildly popular and successful. And I'll start out with Christopher Nolan, who was the writer and director, and David S. Goyer, who set up the story for it. I think this pick for Warner Brothers was really great. Nolan was just new to the industry, had knocked out some really good movies that dealt with the human psyche a lot, and he definitely nailed it for Batman Begins. And then they brought in recurring writer and director for the Blade series, David S. Goyer, who had already had experience doing movies for comic books, and them two together definitely made it a great series that lasted from 2005 to 2012. And then I want to move into Rodriguez and Miller, who did the Sin City movie. And, so with the Dark Knight series, things really started to get really darker. People started taking a darker approach to certain movies, so like the Sherlock Holmes, which is another series that's based off of a book, and then The Hunger Games, initially when they started in pre-production, was something that wasn't as dark as it was, and we're seeing it's going to be much darker, bringing in another director who had directed another book, or had directed from another book, I Am Legend, the Will Smith sad dog dying movie, and they brought in that guy to do the second movie for The Hunger Games, which I think is going to be really interesting to do. And then, so I think directors and writers, picking the right people to do these sorts of movies, they definitely have excellent eye contact, by the way. I just thought that would be, like, directors and writers, they're really important for, lost my train of thought, man. They're important for certain movies, and they're definitely needed. Now moving into marketing, which is, of course, for every movie is incredibly important. This year we saw a lot of it going on. Starting out with The Amazing Spider-Man, it was a reboot from 2007, so it wasn't going to make as much money as everybody knew it was going to make. Like 3 people raised their hand in this entire class. So, and in order to hype it up so much, they released like a year in advance a 30-second trailer, and then about a month before it released, they released a 4-minute trailer, which is something that's not really very common in any sorts of movie. And then we have The Dark Knight Rises, who released a 30-second trailer that didn't even include anything from The Dark Knight Rises trailer or movie. It was just mostly The Dark Knight and then a little snippet of Bane. And then for the IMAX premieres of Ghost Protocol and Sherlock Holmes, there's a 6-minute preview for The Dark Knight Rises. And then I'm going to go to Iron Man, which took 2 million likes to unlock on Facebook. And I'm glad I don't have Facebook because I'd be losing it. And Marvel definitely stepped up their game with this, using all sorts of marketing, including Facebook. And I'm going to show you guys a clip. Yeah, 2 million likes to unlock that. That's just ridiculous. And I thought that was actually pretty smart play by Disney and Marvel, but still kind of ridiculous. I'm going to move into the financial game that a lot of people, or the movies, have made in the past couple of years and the decades with the most popular movies, including this summer's hit flick. Oh no. Alright, so we got the Dark Knight trilogy. This is just box office results. This is not including merchandise that they have made after sales and things that they have done. And also the Dark Knight series had an excellent marketing campaign. They released newspapers out from the Gotham Gazette to Chicago and Seattle, and they're actually worth a pretty good sum of money now. So yeah, this is just from that series, not including aftermarket sales and merchandise. And we got the Lord of the Rings trilogy that is going to get its prequel, which we should see it rise up a lot more. Again, this is just box office results, racking over $1 billion. The Harry Potter series, over $2 billion. Granted, it has 8 movies, but pretty awesome still. The Iron Man, even though it was a reboot, this is actually pretty good for what they had estimated. And yeah. And then the last one, the summer dominated the Avengers at $62 million. Okay, and like I said, people go through a lot to ensure success with these movies. The Hunger Games was massively marketed, and Perks of Being a Wallflower was cheaply done, and it had some authenticity to it, bringing in the writer who did this, the writer of the book did the screenplay, and then he directed the movie. And when watching the movie, you can definitely see its heart and soul in it. That's it.
So Jose, what did you think? Jose, you here?
Jose is not here.
Okay. Well, let's see. We're missing a few people. Maybe we can bump somebody down or up. I don't see. John, what did you think?
Well, the transitions, they weren't too clean. He mumbled a lot, and well, those are just the bad things. His statement was clear that about the comic books and how successful they've been, but a lot of it was just was very unclear. He was unclear what he was saying sometimes. Yeah.
All right. Well, we talked about it. Where are they? I mean, we talked about this while you were getting ready. You needed to have a little bit more laser beam focus on what you're talking about. And the truth of the matter is, you're just all over the place. You've got a lot of ideas here, a lot of things that you want to talk about, and it just sounds like random bits of conversation instead of a focus on a particular idea or concept. I'm not even sure I understand why some of the things are included that you've got included, because you've got the comic book stuff, you've got the novels that are young adult novels that you're talking about. You talk about directors, but you don't get into a lot of detail about what those directors did in making their films unique. You talk about marketing, but the marketing seems to be skipped through. You talk about box office, and it just seems like this random bit of information each time. I think you could have picked any one of those film series and done a speech on the marketing for that film, or on the impact that it had on the culture, or on the way it was adapted, or on how it managed to get from being text to the